absolutely picture-perfect night in downtown Indianapolis. The roof, the window is open. Let's hope the goal-scoring account does the same for the Indy 11 as they look for a second victory in as many tries against the second side of Toronto FC. That would be TFC 2. The Indy 11 looking for 3 points to further climb the table in the Eastern Conference, part of a group of teams between spots 5 and 9, knowing that 4 of those teams could rack up playoff spots once we get to mid-October. As always, alongside Brad Hunter, Greg Rakestraw with you. Thank you for joining us for Indy 11 Soccer here on My Indy TV as well as ESPN+. Last week we used the term prodigal sons for the Indy 11 because they had not been home in 39 days. We'll use the singular version of that tonight. One of the original members of the Indy 11 in Dylan Mayers, after 2 years away, has rejoined his home state side.
Yeah, it's great to see his creativity back, and we actually got to see this blueprint play out with the Cleveland Cavaliers, where their prodigal son went down to Miami, won a championship, and brought that championship attitude back to Cleveland, hoping the same here in Indy. 8
goals a season ago at the NASL level for Miami FC. This year, because of the turmoil in that former league of the Indy 11, he played in the NPSL with Miami FC 2, and he led them to a league championship and was named the man of the match in that championship affair. 10 goals his last 2 seasons in 2015 and 16 with his, again, hometown club.
Yeah, and really hard to believe that we're calling him a veteran right now, but he's a seasoned veteran.
And you bring in an extra set of talented legs for what is happening right now. The busiest stretch of the season for the Indy 11. They're in the midst of 7 matches in 22 days. The first 2 of those, they've already picked up 4 points out of 6. They do play some of the quote-unquote lesser teams in the league, but again, it's such a compacted schedule, it could really be a grind over the next week or 2. And yes, Toronto FC 2 has the fewest points of any team in the league. They have won just twice this season, but they've won twice in the last 3 weeks. So clearly, Brad, they're finding something here late in the campaign.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is when they went these last 4 games with Caleb Patterson-Sewell in goal, 30-year-old veteran. You got a young team that gives you stability in the back.
We saw him a year ago in Jacksonville. He was very impressive playing in the NASL. He's added to this TFC 2 program. Starting lineups, opening kickoff come your way in a matter of moments. A little midweek affair for the Indy 11 against Toronto FC 2. And we're back with more in just a moment.
Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing to honor our nation with the singing of the national anthem performed by Center Grove High School Junior, Indy 11 season ticket holder and BYB member Megan Phelps.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Community Health Network. Dream big, work hard, finish strong. Community Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider of the Indy 11. And by Honda, proud to be the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. By Turkish Airlines, widen your world. And by by the Room Place. Get it all at the Room Place. We have two different anthems tonight to sing, both Canadian and the United States. Takes a little more time for the national anthems before a course of a game. Great to have both those here on the broadcast this evening.
Wow.
Not bad, huh?
She's a junior in high school.
Brickyard Battalion member as well.
Rake, between playing, coaching, broadcasting, there have been a couple thousand games I've been a part of and heard that. That was incredible.
I'm glad we could bring part of it to you on the broadcast this evening. Time now for our starting 11, presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. I already told you Dylan Mares gets the start tonight, but also of note, the Indy 11 going to the 4-3-3. It's not a formation we've seen much of any of this season.
That's exciting. I think you're pushing some numbers up, and I think the way that Toronto has played all season, it kind of plays to your advantage if you can push and play this game in your attacking half.
To that point, Toronto's allowing over 2 goals per contest. They've allowed 47 goals on the season, and their goal differential is -26. Again, one familiar name for us, Caleb Patterson-Sewell. They've got 2 players that lead their team in appearances of 20, neither of them in the starting 11 tonight. In total for Toronto FC2, 35 different players have made an appearance for this developmental side this season. Owain Fawn-Williams coming off of his 9th clean sheet of the season. That is good for 5th in the USL, and remarkably, all 5 of those top goalies in terms of goalless appearances all reside in the Eastern Conference. His opposite number, Caleb Patterson-Sewell. Caleb has a unique story. Born just outside of Nashville, but grew up in Australia. Has played in multiple different countries across the globe. Spent some time in Portugal before coming to the States a couple of years ago.
What a cool life. I'd be, just like Owain Fawn-Williams, sitting down, have a cup of coffee with those guys and just listening to their journey through life and through professional soccer.
By the way, our referee for this evening's contest is Thomas Snyder. Art Aristamayan, Kyle Hannon, and Joshua Kelly round out our referee, assistant referees, and 4th official for the evening. You will not have a better night for soccer or any outdoor activity than you will this evening in Indianapolis. Temperatures currently in the 70s. Expected to get into the middle 50s for a low overnight. And so with that, the roof is open for an 8th time in 12 home matches so far for the Indy 11. Roof was closed because of storms in the area some 7 days ago.
Now that's the good news. You started leading into what next week is going to look like a little bit.
The good news is that Monday and Tuesday, heat indices around 100. We can worry about that on Wednesday, the next time the Indy 11 are back here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Jack McInerney appeared in Saturday's draw against Ottawa Fury FC as a substitute. As far as the front 2 lines are concerned, head coach Martin Ray does a good job of trying to balance playing time these last couple of games, knowing this group is playing every 3 or 4 days through September the 5th. Yeah. We, as always, thank you for joining us for Indy 11 Soccer here on My Indy TV and ESPN+.
Those injuries early on in the season really had him trying to juggle some of his depth, and you take a look at everybody rounding into health right now and the additional players that they've brought in, and they're ready for this tough stretch.
When these 2 teams played on June the 16th, it was one of the handful of matches that Toronto FC2 has played this year in Rochester. Of course, one of the great stories of Subdivision 1 North American soccer over the years, but the Rhinos did not field a team this year. So Toronto FC2 moved a handful of matches to upstate New York. That was one of the matches against the Indy 11. Justin Braun had a brace. We'll talk more about Justin in a moment. Kevin Venegas had his only goal of the season as well in a 3-1 Indy 11 victory. Let's get to our keys to this match. They are presented by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11.
For Indy, moving the ball is going to be something not just north-south, but east and west, too. The more complex you can make the decision-making for a young team, the better it's going to be for you. And then we talked about it a little bit. Finish your early chances. Toronto's never won when conceding first or trailing at the half, so psychologically, that's a hurdle they have yet to overcome. For Toronto, be young. You know, you're a young team. You got 5 players tonight that are 21 or under, and that can bring some chaos and some difficult reads for Indy. And then I think, you know, we talked about it a little bit too. Caleb Patterson-Sewell is a big key to this game for Toronto. You talked about the goal differential, -26. Since he's taken over these last 4 games, it's even. 3 goals for, 3 goals against. That veteran leadership on a young back line is critical.
Kyle Bjornson on the throw-in for Toronto FC2. We referenced in the open that they were going to play at the newly christened USL Division III level a year from now, which, given the amount of young players they have, is probably the right move. We also referenced Rochester. It was announced today that they are going to resume activities and play at the Division III level next year.
Love that.
Time now for our injury report, brought to us by Community Health Network Sports Medicine, official sports medicine provider of the Indy 11. All 3 of these players are out, but you'll see questionable for Justin Braun. Yes, he's not playing tonight, but at the same time, that's the first time he hasn't been listed as simply out since July the 7th, when he was hurt against the Charlotte Independents very early in that match. So that tells me that we're not going to see him tonight. Maybe you don't see him in Atlanta on Saturday night, but hopefully by next week we could see Justin back on the pitch, because he was just rounding into form when he got hurt in early July.
Right.
McInerney takes it inside of the 18. I think before he earned the corner, he took that ball across the end line. Goal kick coming for Toronto FC2. There's the head coach of the Indy 11 in Martin Running. He's accomplished a lot in his first season as the man in charge. He knows what it's like to coach north of the border, as the former head coach of the Vancouver Whitecaps in Major League Soccer. And his opposite number for Toronto FC2, Michael Rabasca. And it is always a unique challenge to be coaching at this level, where, yes, you want to win. It's the reason why you play the games, not to go all Herm Edwards on you. But player development really is what is key for a second side such as this one.
Yeah, and he's been a part of that for Toronto for a long time. He was part of this. Now it's called the high performance department, but it used to be their department of cognitive development. And it's all of this kind of holistic approach to building these young players, not just on the field, but, you know, the psychological aspect of the game, the nutrition, all of these things go into that high performance. So he's been a part of that development piece of Toronto for a number of years. It's great to see him have a chance to work with them also in this capacity.
And of course, the big club, if you will, the defending MLS Cup champions. They have been to back-to-back championship matches, having lost to Seattle in 2016. Those 2 teams, not sure if there will be a third matchup in that championship at the Major League Soccer level this year. Ioze trying to shield off the player, and eventually it will go for a corner. He had hoped to earn a foul, did not get the call. That's what he's kind of gesturing with, that tug of the shirt there. The player he was battling with was Matthew Serbel for TFC2. He is a 19-year-old from Ontario. There's a lot of teenagers on this roster for Toronto FC2. Corner to be taken by Tsubasa Endo.
Good serve.
Good flick that McInerney got in the way of. And it will be a second corner in a matter of moments here for Toronto FC2. You see McInerney, the leading goal scorer for the Indy 11 this season, with 6. Jack celebrated his 26th birthday earlier this month. McInerney again the first to get there, but by no means out of danger just yet. Dylan Mayer is applying the defensive pressure. Good flick in the box, and eventually rocketed towards midfield by Kevin Venegas. This is a Toronto FC2 team that scored against the Indy 11 when they played some 2 months ago. They've scored 21 goals on the season, 9 different goal scorers. But they have found themselves giving up goals by the bucket load so far this year. You can see Ben Spees. He had a goal in Indy's last victory 7 days ago. The 3-2 win in dramatic fashion over North Carolina FC. Spies, Starikoff, and Wangera, the goal scorers for Indy in that game. Eugene Starikoff not featuring in the 18 tonight. Carlisle Mitchell allowing Fawn Williams to play that one. Wangera is available as a substitution. Talked about again how Martin Rennie has kind of turned the lineup over the course of these last 3 games, knowing just how busy of a stretch this has been. You see Matt Watson, Nico Mattern in the midfield for the Indy 11 tonight. That's going to be a foul whistle against Jack McInerney of the Indy 11. Neither of those two were starters on Saturday. Brad Ring got the nod on Saturday, wore the captain's armband in place of Matt Watson. Of course, Dylan Mayers didn't play in Saturday's game because he wasn't announced as a signing until Monday. So literally, it's a new midfield from Saturday's match.
What a pickup, though. What a pickup at this point in the season.
And the players that were under contract to the teams like Jacksonville, Miami, and the New York Cosmos, now that the NPSL season has come to an end, they've all started to find some homes here in the USL or in other leagues. Longtime Miami keeper Daniel Vega was signed by the Tampa Bay Rowdies a couple of days ago. Carlisle Mitchell got ahead there first, but Negus was next to it for the Indy 11, but settled by Bjornthen for Toronto FC 2.
Speaking of former Indy 11 heroes, has Don Smart found a home since?
Not sure yet. Was a late signing with Miami this year. Of course, he was the all-time leader in Indy 11 appearances until this season, has since been surpassed by Brad Ring. Ring is available for selection off the bench if needed tonight. Ball played at the feet of Patterson Sewell. This is the second game where the football lines have been visible on the turf, and it's the second game on the brand new turf here at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Indy 11 got to make the debut of said turf some 7 days ago, and players and coaches thought it was a dramatic improvement. Well-timed run by McInerney. Now can he have the pace to get there? Didn't get everything he wanted to on that cross. He had to kind of measure his steps. Ball was last touched by Venegas for Toronto FC 2 throw-in.
Clever little ball by Venegas, just tucked down the line for McInerney to chase down.
Toronto FC 2 did not get their first win this season until they beat Nashville SC, who will likely be a playoff team, on July the 28th. He's since followed up with a victory against the Richmond Kickers, a team the Indy 11 played in their opening match of the season back on March 24th. Watson tackled off of that ball. Opportunity here for TFC2. Left foot couldn't get to it properly. Right foot gave Fawn Williams a bit of a scare as he watched it curl around the post.
Fun right now watching Toronto break out. They're coming with numbers and pace on the counter.
John Baccaro played it across to Jordan Hamilton to set up the opportunity. And not the left foot he wanted, but not far from an electric right foot to give them an early lead.
His left foot set his right foot up very well.
And Fawn Williams pressured by Baccaro. This one will go back to Owan Fawn Williams, but Toronto FC 2 is not playing like the worst team in the league so far.
One of the things with a young team is an elevated pace, something that you can do. They can get on the break, they can counter a lot quicker, they can chase down some balls, and there is going to be some chaos that comes because they're going to have very different reads than a veteran team would do. And you know, hopefully you got moments like that kind of wake up Indy and realize, hey, okay, it's a team that hasn't done well on the score sheet, but that's not the purpose of a developmental team like this. It's to build these future pros for the MLS team.
Hamilton, 22 years of age from Ontario. Baccaro, 21 years of age from Spain. Caleb Patterson Sewell is the only player aged 30 or greater on this TFC2 roster, while the Indy 11 have 10 such players aged 30 or more.
And what a great pickup it is for them. I mean, if your job at this level is to develop that next pro, I mean, these guys are pros. But to develop that next generation from your academy to pro to the MLS club, to have a guy like Patterson Sewell, a 30-year-old who has been around, who understands the life of professional soccer, to help these guys make the adjustment both on the field and off the field to this kind of a life.
Giveaway, and you can be somewhat confused on the lines on the sideline. This is one of the issues. Again, it's still more positive than negative having the brand new turf, but on the old turf, the lines have been painted over. Here, you can get lost a little bit on those sidelines, but it's the trade-off the Indy 11 are happy to have.
Yeah, there was some conversation after last match, and I think part of that was generated by you looking at calling for pink lines, and
that was up for discussion. Clearly, they decided to stick with the yellow lines. They appear to be a bit thicker and brighter tonight.
Well, I tell you though, when you win in an exciting fashion like you did last time, you don't change anything.
I think it was Bull Durham the one said you do not mess with a streak, or something along those lines, perhaps.
If you say it, I believe it.
Dylan Mayers applying the defensive pressure for the Indy 11. And Sooney Saad now giving chase. Sooney scraped some paint a couple of times in the 0-0 draw against Ottawa on Saturday afternoon. A road point's not a bad point against an Ottawa team that has been playing much better as of late. Opportunity here. Hamilton is onside. Has two defenders around him. And Wisely will play it out top to Endo. Now Bjornthal with some space to move. Plays it across. Watson read the cross. Ouimet offers further safety for the Indy 11. Good job by Venegas on the pressure there.
I thought Hamilton, if he would have pulled the trigger early, had the shot, and instead he decided to pull it back and knock it outside to Bjornthal.
Well, frankly, more of this match has been played in TFC2's end of the field than the Indy 11 would have liked. Iose draws the foul. Want to thank our friends at Delta Faucet, one of our new sponsors with the Indy 11. Delta Faucet, see what Delta can do. Mayers wearing his third different number with the Indy 11. Wearing the number 2, his last number, and number 6. Flag now goes up once Saad makes contact with the ball. Of course, number 6 being worn by Nico Mattern. His rookie season with the Indy 11, he wore number 22. Because his preferred number 6 was taken by Chris Estridge at the time back in year number 1. Good look down the Indy 11 bench. You see Phil DeSantos, Brian Gerlach amongst others. Looking on to the early stages of this one. Oh, Dylan is very happy to be back home. It was a great situation in Miami. Of course, won both the fall and the spring leagues in the last year, the North American Soccer League last year. Giveaway here, but Indy 11 couldn't keep possession for very long.
A great experience also for him as a player. I mean, the quality of roster that Miami put together in the NASL 2 years ago was incredible, and to play at that level with those players, great learning opportunity.
This portion of the match brought to us by Community Health Sports Medicine, keeping athletes at the top of their game. Visit ecommunity.com/sports. The second consecutive match against a team from north of the border. After the draw with Ottawa Fury FC. 3 Canadian teams in the league. This one sent backwards. Iose will track it down. Of course, the Indy 11 as a franchise used to making that trip, having shared a league with Ottawa for the first 3 years of their existence. But this ends the matches against teams from north of the border, barring a playoff match with Ottawa, which is certainly a possibility. Those two teams played twice. 1 goal was scored. It was an own goal. So if they would play a third time, you kind of get the idea as to what to expect. Playoffs would start the week of October the 15th. And as of now, the Indy 11 are in a playoff position. They have been for most of the season, but by no means is it guaranteed.
Well, you saw it in the table. You've got 5-6 teams that are separated by a point.
Long distance ball for Sooney Saad, and again flag goes up for Saad, and must be a result of the formation, but this is by far the most offside flags I have seen in a short amount of time against this team this season.
Yeah, and it does not appear that it is a disciplined line trap that Toronto. It really just looks like the front line of Indy 11 is just anxious and excited to get forward.
And scored 3 against TFC2 when they played back in mid-June. Scored 3 the last time they were home as well from 3 different goal scorers. This team has been somewhat Jekyll and Hyde this year. They have been a high-flying outfit hitter at home, and they have been very much a stingy group on the road, as evidenced by not giving up a goal in Ottawa on Saturday, including a 3rd unsuccessful penalty against the Indy 11 this season. And in the last 2 road matches, Indy 11 has seen a penalty not converted. Now, the first of those were saves by Owain Von Williams, and perhaps Owain's success. Spies, flag stays down. Spies is onside. Ben Spies slides it past, and Ben Spies has his 2nd goal in as many Indy 11 home matches. In fact, all 3 of his goals this season have come on the Lucas Oil Stadium turf. The Indy 11 have the lead in the 18th minute.
What a great and composed finish. You know, you had Venegas both coming up and Spies both on the edge, right on the line. Perfectly delivered ball, and then calm and composed tucks it under Patterson Sewell.
We referenced the numerous offside flags. Just a matter of timing out that run a bit better. That one was timed out perfectly, and Spies calmly slots it by Caleb Patterson Sewell. And Ben Spies has hit his stride. Did not have many opportunities in April and May. When those injuries happened in late June, he pounced on his chance and hasn't let it go since.
So critical. He was such a vital piece of the team last year in minutes, and you could count on him for scoring, could always count on him for effort and quality play. And then to see him, you know, kind of have this rebirth in this season and really getting on fire recently is a big plus for the 11.
He was one of 3 players the Indy 11 brought back from last year's team, Brad Ring and Justin Braun being the other. Of course, now with Dylan Mayers returning, there are now 5 players on this roster that had been with this team in some point before this season. And against a young team, the last thing that you want to do is give them confidence. And the Indy 11 will look to tack on to what's a 1-goal advantage. Spies last year 4 goals in his debut campaign with the Indy 11. Has spent some time in Major League Soccer, has the Ohio native. Player told no foul there. Frankly, both teams are not shy about applying pressure in tonight's match.
I thought Hamilton did get fouled on that. I thought he had a good argument.
On the cross. Good job to get a boot to it by Dylan Mayers. Ball sent back in Hamilton. Once again, the pass is read, and now here comes the break for the Indy 11. Sooney side. Right idea. Couldn't find Jack McInerney. August is the birthday month for the Indy 11. Sooney celebrated his birthday on Friday, which is why those pieces of chipped paint on his shots on Saturday were even more cruel than usual. Jack McInerney celebrated a brace on his birthday some 17 days ago. Good looking cross here. Baccaro didn't head it down, but found some space, and TFC2 continues to give themselves some good chances here in the early stages of this match.
Yeah, you could see the talent, you could see the quality in this team. That was a brilliantly driven ball to change the point of attack, and then a fantastic serve.
This reminder, fans, you can catch Soccer Saturday every Saturday morning on 107.5 FM and 1070 The Fan. We'll talk to head coach Martin Running. We'll talk to the returnee and Dylan Mayers, and whoever we deem as the top player from tonight's Indy 11 match. We'll talk about the Premier League. Man City has the early window game on Saturday mornings to provide updates on that. All comes your way this Saturday morning. If you miss it, log on to the podcast page at 1070thefan.com. Indy 11 plays the second sides this week. They go on the road to play Atlanta United 2. They defeated ATL UTD 2. I don't think that's going to catch on.
I don't think so. It's going to be a tough one.
I'm not the one that originated that, by the way. So I'll give this a try. Nope, not working for me. I went with AU2 when they were. I thought that was a little more compact.
That was. But I tell you what, that makes for a very difficult week. You know, the challenge with these MLS 2 teams is that they rotate players so much. They're pulling players up to the top club. They're signing kids from their academy. That, you know, while the style and the blueprint may be the same week to week, you don't know which players are going to be on the field, and so it's very difficult to prepare for them.
And we've seen teams kind of have a varying version of success in just the Eastern Conference. You know, New York Red Bulls 2 thumped the Indy 11 4-1 when they played at the end of May. And they have been a playoff team more years than not. Bethlehem Steel is clearly in the playoff picture. The Indy 11 have split matches with Bethlehem this season. On the opposite side, Atlanta and Toronto have really struggled in this league this year.
And I think so much of that goes to the philosophy of what these teams have their USL teams for. You know, is it to get guys that are ready to come in and help the top team more recently, or is it to develop some of your homegrown talent?
Another quality header. Hamilton sends it open over the bar. But while the Indy 11 are leading, I'm not sure that Mark Rennie is happy right now with the number of chances his team is allowing.
No, they're finding Hamilton with some ease, and he's actually getting some good looks at goal. He's 22 years old, Rake.
On this team makes him an old guy.
Yeah, he's the veteran.
He's on postgraduate scholarship duties here for Toronto FC 2. This segment of the match is brought to us by the Room Place. Get it all at the Room Place. For Hamilton, this is just his 6th appearance of the season. He does have 3 goals, and he is on a Toronto FC contract. He is on an MLS deal.
Yeah, you can see why.
Opportunity here for Mayers. The lead for Sunny Saad. Options aplenty. Falls at the
Great
feet.
finish.
Back of the net. McInerney has his 7th goal of the season. And despite the good things that Toronto FC2 have done, the Indy 11 are staked to a 2-goal lead. Only bad news is that Sunny Saad has gone down inside of the 18 for the Indy 11.
Oh, no.
And he is, as you can tell, kind of checking out a knee or a calf is Sunny. Let's focus on the good news for the Indy 11. Jack McInerney, goal number 7. And his 4th in the last month. And sometimes it's right place, right time. We used to use this phrase the last couple of years for our buddy Eamon Zayed. That would be a poacher's goal right there for Jack McInerney.
Yeah, great touch by Dylan Mayers to send Sunny Saad in. I mean, it's not going to be recorded as a stat, but it's the ball that frees him up to deliver the assist. And you take a look at you got good size on the back line. There's good pace, but they're young. And you take a look at that missed clearance that leads to a McInerney goal. And it's just one of those things that can't happen. Those are the things that you have to clean up and polish before you want to move to the next level.
As far as forwards available for the Indy 11 tonight, it's Zach Steinberger and Elliot Collier. Steinberger did get the start on Saturday against Ottawa Fury FC. I'm not sure exactly if Sunny's going to maybe do a little moving around first and see what's going on for him. We'll kind of keep checking. The cold spray tends to fix everything. But again, knowing that A, you've got a 2-goal lead already, and B, you've got to play again on Saturday, I'm not sure if you take much of a risk at this point in bringing Sunny back.
Yeah, not just with this week, and he looks like he's giving the thumbs up right now. Not just with this week, but you take a look at the stretch that they're on and the position they're in. You know, to risk a player of that caliber if you're not feeling like, hey, it's something minor.
You can watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. This Toronto FC2 team does not have a road point this year. Nary a one. This is their 12th road match of the season. 0 wins, 11 losses. And again, offensively, they've done a lot of things well so far in this match. Just one well-timed run, one bit of a defensive lapse, and here we are.
Good
Von
hit.
Williams, that short hopper can always be a bit of a tough one. Noble Okello.
Yeah, and he's been impressive. He's sitting kind of in that seam, in that pocket between the back line and the front three, and he's been dangerous both in finding seams, and you take a look at that shot. That bounces right in front of Von Williams.
Okello, 17 years of age, which means he was born in this millennium. Player goes down behind the play, and the player that committed the foul, Lars Eckenrode. And Spies seems to be all right. You can see Noble Okello. He is a native of Toronto. 6'4" and 170.
17.
So as he fills out,
that's going to be scary. But you look at, I mean, you got to love Toronto, growing their own talent through their academy, bringing them up and not rushing them into the parent club, but giving them actual game experience at the USL level.
Well, that franchise has quickly become a model for North American soccer. Endo sends it across. Not the pass he was looking for. Now Hamilton. Little give and go here. And that will be a foul just outside of the 18. Well, Mattern on the right side of the 18-yard box. Kind of in a similar situation on the other side of the box against Ottawa Fury. There was a penalty given, and there seems to be little argument because of the scoring opportunity that Hamilton had, no doubt. That's a foul on Mattern. It was outside of the 18. I think that's a good call by our match referee.
What a great give and go.
Well, it's clear to see why Hamilton, has only appeared for the USL team now 6 times this year, and he's on a Major League Soccer contract. His skill is rather obvious.
I mean, it's impressive. You look at, not only is he a dominant figure in the middle, but in tight spaces he's doing very well.
Hamilton and Tsubasa Endo. Well, Wine has designs on a 10th clean sheet in this match. Give the league leaders in that category if it stays as a 0 on the board after this attempt. It doesn't. How about that? Tremendous strike. Tsubasa Endo with the goal. And TFC2 has gotten one back.
And you look at that, where the placement of that ball is, and you are right on the edge of being able to get the ball up and down into a place where you can put it on goal. That didn't come down. That was just struck up into the upper corner.
Absolutely nothing Von Williams can do about that. That is and we have seen some phenomenal set pieces this year from the Indy 11. That's as good as you're going to see.
Yeah, we just saw one a week ago in the same goal, almost from the same spot.
So for the second time in as many matches against the Indy 11, TFC2 have gotten a goal. Well, this game so far has been played like a game that might have 3 goals in the first 30 minutes. Both teams pressing forward with allowing some space at the back defensively. And this game is following the pattern of games at Lucas Oil Stadium this year. That is where by far the higher scoring games for the Indy 11 have happened. A 3-2 victory, a 3-3 draw for the Indy 11. Fans, you can show your Indy 11 pride and get your exclusive IMCU Indy 11 debit card at any Indiana Members Credit Union branch, or log on to imcu.com today. So minute number 31, this one has not lacked for action. Good read by Watson. And frankly, even though the Indy 11 have the lead, you could say the, if not better of these scoring chances, the more multiple of scoring chances as the offside flag goes up for Hamilton. There have been more opportunities so far for TFC too.
I like the pace that they're playing on. You know, you look at down 2 goals, and it wasn't dialed down. They're still looking to push, still looking to press. And I think some of that comes too from that philosophy of you know what the team is in the development thought process is that you want results because everybody's competitive, but the main impact is getting game minutes.
Endo on the goal for TFC2. He was signed by this team 20 days ago. As mentioned earlier, they have had 35 different players appear in a match this year. We talked about the familiarity with their goalkeeper and Caleb Patterson-Sewell. Another familiar name for Indy 11 fans has played for him. We'll finish that thought in a moment. Hamilton with some space. Hamilton trying to set back up to his right foot. Inside of the 18. Ball falls to Hamilton. Told to get up as he was trying to draw the contact there.
You can see the talent. It's just the quality of the final decision hasn't been there yet.
Last time out, TFC2 was blanked 2-0 at the Bethlehem Steel. That was last Thursday. And when you're a bit of a second side, you probably will end up playing more midweek matches. Just because you're not as worried about gate, for example, and ticket revenue. They'll actually play on the road next Tuesday for their next match at Louisville City. In fact, Toronto FC2 has just 3 more remaining home matches this season. It's not like their home results have been fantastic, but their road results have been non-existent. All 9 points so far this year have come in home games.
That's where a good performance, if they can pull a draw out of this.
Hamilton again.
What a
and Von
hit.
Williams can't get to it. And it is quickly tied at 2. He's been deserving of a look the entirety of this match. They give up 2. They get 2 back. 4 goals in the first 34 minutes of this one from Lucas Oil Stadium.
That may have been from 30. I'm impressed. I'm so impressed with Hamilton right now. In tight spaces, he's doing a fantastic job. I think you look at this hit here.
And you nailed it from 30. This is his 6th appearance of the year at the USL level. He's got 4 goals.
Oh my goodness.
This portion of the match presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. 5 goals in the last Indy 11 home match. 5th didn't come until the 90th minute. I'm kind of expecting a 5th and 6th by halftime of this one.
I don't know what it is about this place. Like 6 goals in a match seems to be the average.
The domain of Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck leads to high-scoring affairs. Amazing how that works. Venegas sends it across.
Good serve. That's the second really, dangerous missed clear.
Venegas did score the last time these 2 teams played. So in the 2 matches that these 2 teams have faced against each other this year, 8 goals have been scored in about 135 minutes. And much as we talked about in the open, you respect the fact that this team has struggled so much this season and that they just keep firing away. Toronto FC2. And that is the joys of having a younger team, and frankly guys that aren't grinding it out playing at this level in every match. Fan Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. Von Williams will watch this one go across the end line.
Yeah, they got the 11 back on their heels a little bit, and if they can clean up a few things in the back as far as the timing on their back line and some of the missed clearances, this game could lean in their direction pretty quickly.
Talked about the Indy 11 having some higher scoring affairs here in this building. Haven't been all that many like that for Toronto FC too. But they were a part of a 5-4 defeat earlier this year. Sooney side trying to get to the ball. Goes to the ground, and the rule is a goal kick. I think there was just as much contact Sooney initiated as he did receive from the TFC2 defender. Robert Boskovic was the player tangled up with Sooney. I think that's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
going both
Sooney
ways.
had his arm locked around him, and that's, what is he, 27 years old? That's such a veteran move right there to initiate the contact and have it look as though it could go either way.
Again onside. With Hamilton to his right, the 2 goal scorers charging forward for TFC2. The lead back to the top of the 18, taken away by Mayers. Sooney side, got onside. 4 defenders stream back for TFC2. McInerney wants it back post. Side couldn't get it to him, and taken off the ball by a Toronto FC2 defender. This is almost playing out like a pickup game right now.
When you look at that last ball that Toronto had, Tsubasa Endo takes it down, down the left side, and everything about it is leaning in Toronto's direction. Venegas is pulled out. Mitchell has to slide out of the middle. That opens up the opportunity, and then just that final pass. Final pass lets him down.
This portion of today's match presented by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Take your business to the next level in a state that works. And McInerney goes to ground and draws the foul. Good switching of the attack to Iose. Iose flicks it forward for Spies. Spies got there first, but Spies was offside for the effort. So that assistant referee has gotten his shoulder workout. And if Spies was offsides, it was by a whisker.
Yeah, the timing is almost there. I mean, they've gotten one through. They've gotten a couple just a second, just a meter off.
Patterson Sewell, in one of his matches he played against the Indy 11 last year, did not see the end of the match. A red card for playing a ball with an extended arm out of the box. His Armada team won 4-1 anyway. That team just missed making the playoffs last year. And he and now Indy 11 man Zach Steinberger teammates on that squad last year. As Zach has now spent 2 years with the Indy 11 and 2 years with the Jacksonville Armada during his professional days.
That was an impressive run by the Armada. Coaching change early on, got off to a bit of a slow start. Were able to get things moving in the right direction, and had the great fortune of rolling out almost the same lineup week after week after week.
This portion of today's match presented by Turkish Airlines. Widen your world. Carlisle Mitchell shoulders that ball away. Again, another perfectly timed run. Fawn Williams sprints out and will kick that ball towards us.
You can get that one
to ensure there's a little time to get set back up. But as much as the Indy 11 are wanting to press forward on the attack, it has led to similar opportunities heading in the other direction.
Well, you look how dangerous they've been. Every time Venegas is coming up, they're finding the space or they're finding the feet for Tsubasa Endo here on the left side.
And frankly, tape gets around when you're 2/3 the way through a league season. Indy 11 is not shy about having their backs get involved in the attack. You frankly see those outside backs get up more forward than even the defensive midfielders do for the Indy 11. And part of that is at home, you frankly have less ground to cover. It's a 70 by 110 pitch alignment here at Lucas Oil Stadium. By the way, our final 5 minutes plus stoppage time of the first half presented by your Central Indiana Honda dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. Von Williams on the clearance. He has played at every minute of every match this year for the Indy 11. Trying to equal the feat of Christian Neek from the team's opening campaign in 2014. There are 7 more regular season matches in this year than there was in that season for Christian. Christian played in 1 more match in the U.S. Open Cup than Von Williams did, with the Indy 11 going out on their first opportunity of this year. And apparently the offside flag went up. Liam Fraser discussing that call with our match referee. And Thomas Snyder, our lead official for tonight's contest. There's Sunni's side.
Great ball. Flag
goes up again. Certainly testing the limits are the Indy 11 attackers tonight, pushing the envelope.
Right on the edge.
I don't think that's offside, Brad.
Yeah, I thought that was a perfectly delivered ball, and I think Sunni would love to see that one play out.
And Martin Rennie voicing his displeasure about the call. The 4th official trying to lighten the stress on the assistant referee that may have raised that flag in error.
It's got to be tough too when you're the assistant referee and it's a call that really looks like you might have missed it, and you've got, how big is that video board that he's facing right there? 30 feet by 30 feet.
You try not to look at it, frankly.
No, you can't. Great ball.
Endo again. Venegas stays with him step for step. Good looking cross here, but again up and over the bar. And we've seen that a lot, where those opportunities with the head just have not been on target, as compared to the 2 electric strikes that we have seen from Endo and Hamilton so far. Fans, you can stay up to date with all the best from the social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL's social media channels. Well, TFC2 has alternated wins and losses in each of the last 5 matches. If that pattern were to continue, that wouldn't be good for the home team after losing last Thursday to Bethlehem. By the way, Bethlehem was in action earlier. Bethlehem beating Ottawa Fury FC 2-0. Another opportunity here. Ouimet races back. And Ouimet will shepherd that ball across the end line. No, he does not. The Toronto FC2 player does a good job of keeping it in play. 2 additional minutes, says our 4th official. The TFC2 continues to attack. Baquero looking for Hamilton. Hamilton again. And finally Venegas with a blast that Pat McAfee would be proud of. McInerney trying to get on the end of that one. McInerney goes to ground, will not get the whistle.
Tell you, you look at the way Noble Okello is playing in the center of the field right now. The composure that he has at 17 years old. Nothing's rushed. Everything's calm. The correct decisions.
Foul against TFC2. Iose with a bit of an extended stare down at the end of that play. Once again, good pressure applied by TFC2. And they immediately to go on the attack. This is Baquero. Tried to slide it through Mitchell. He is the only outfield player. Well, correct that. He and Iose, they're the guys that have played all 3 matches in this 7 and 22 day stretch so far. At least played in every minute of every match to this point. Several players have started twice and been a sub in another. Good job to keep possession there by Suni Saad. But Spies' pass left something to be desired, and then Saad goes to the turf, and immediately whistle is blown. And obviously we saw him down earlier. And I don't think you're going to use a sub here at this stage of the half, but we might not see Suni in half number 2, as this is the second time he has gone down tonight.
Yeah, you hate having to use a sub in the first half, but the stretch that you've got in front of you and the position that you're in right now in the standings, and the playoffs looming here just in a couple months, you just can't afford to risk a player of that quality if he's banged up at this point.
It clearly looks to be like a calf or a shin issue more so than a knee, given kind of what he's going to.
Yeah, they were spraying. It looked like the patellar tendon or just above the sock there. So I don't know if there was some kind of contact that he got. Maybe it's a deep bone bruise or.
Just a couple of seconds left to go here in half number 1. Suni trying to stay out there right now, but I doubt there's going to be much movement for Suni over these next few seconds. 4 goals so far for Suni this year, and that is the end of an entertaining half number 1. The Indy 11 did what they were hoping to do. They pounced early and scored twice, but a team that hasn't had a point away from home this year scores twice to answer, and it's 2-2 going to halftime.
It's an exciting match. I tell you what, you got to get Suni out, get some ice on that knee, and get someone in.
The Indy 11 look for 3 points. It might require more than 3 goals. Halftime at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Indy 11 2, Toronto FC 2-2. We're back in a moment on My Indy TV. we have officially gotten to the point of the season where every point is a critical one. The Indy 11 want 3, expect 3 tonight. Right now they're sitting on 1 because of the comeback effort of Toronto FC 2. You also start doing a little bit of scoreboard watching around the league to see what other potential playoff teams are doing. That was the case last night. New York Red Bulls 2, North Carolina FC 2, and much like this one, okay, an extra 2 there, they finish at 2-2, alternating goals in this one with the Red Bulls being the home side.
Yeah, an exciting match. You've got some great goals in it too.
We saw North Carolina FC here 7 days ago. They thought they had pulled a point out of that one with a 2-goal comeback, only for the Indy 11 to then take a late goal. The Red Bulls 2 also a soon-to-be opponent for the Indy 11 as well. And a little tete-a-tete here at the end of the match. Connor Tobin getting a bit of an extra shove from a Red Bulls 2 player that leads them being a man down. And North Carolina would capitalize. Rocketed home and a road point. North Carolina still on the outside looking in, but they're at a point where every point is crucial to Colin Clark's side.
That was a critical finish and a very valuable point for them coming into this home stretch.
So clearly some highlights specifically from that match we have to show you, but now highlights from around the USL. Our look at the best of Week 23.
I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I'ma keep on climbing, I ain't gonna stop. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I was born from the bottom but raised to the top. I'ma keep on climbing, I ain't gonna stop.
Thomasina Volkson looking for number 14. There it is.
Cross comes in towards the back post, and Foster Langsdorff has his 11th goal this season.
The corner of the 18. Cross comes in, and a goal for Foster Langsdorff. It's his second of the evening. Into the box, a strike, and a goal. Christian Valesky.
Guess who?
Again, Valesky with his second. Slides it across. Michael Seaton. Seaton in on goal. Michael Seaton. He's at the brace.
Ledesma right at the edge of the 18. Takes a shot. And Manu Ledesma does it again.
Now Spees gives it a go. And Spees finds the back of the net. Game of one-upsmanship from the Indy 11 this season.
Rebound comes out, though, and it's stuck right back in. And guess who? Solomon Asante.
Chance now for it. St. Louis. Long overdue goal for Corey Herzog. Here's Carl Howarth. And the shot. And it is 1-0 Ottawa Fury FC.
Here's Atlas Aiden to strike. It hits the frame of the goal and goes in. Laid off to the path of Barry. He's onside. And he fires it home.
It'll be Gordon to strike with his right boot. Hits it and puts it in the back of the net.
To Velasquez. He'll take a crack through distance. And a goal. Chandler Hoffman redirects it for the goal. Here's another opportunity. Dixon shot and a score.
Back to Corbin Bone. Bone inside of the 18. Buries it in the back of the net.
Bill Belmar. Now into the area crossing Belmar. Losing his defender. Belmar. Shirley. Blackwood gets the goal.
Great save by Kendall McIntosh.
Shot getting a piece of it. What a save.
Great stop by Dykstra. Oh, what a save by Vaughn Williams.
Cardoni with an impressive save.
A brilliant save.
Always a good sign for the Indy 11 when you play 2 matches in the course of a week, and there's highlights from both matches that make the best moments of the week around the USL. 2-2 our score at halftime between Indy 11 and Toronto FC 2. Alongside Brad Hunter, Greg Rakestraw with you. Again, there were opportunities early for TFC 2. They didn't cash in. The Indy 11 did. But if you ask me who'd been the better over the 45 minutes, I'm probably saying the visitors tonight.
Yeah, I think they've been dynamic in the midfield. They've been exciting up top. I think their back line has been a little bit suspect, and that's something that the 11 can key on in the second half.
We'll catch up with Mark Rennie coming up in just a matter of moments, but right now let's catch you up on the table in the USL in the Eastern Conference. And again, this reflects the earlier victory for Bethlehem Steel FC. They've got a bit more cushion now, so the Indy 11 trying to keep pace with them, but also 3 points here for Indy allows them to stretch their lead over New York and Ottawa and just trying to get off that bubble spot in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, but you look how dangerous that bubble spot is because the teams right below there are still just a point or two away.
Now let's also show you kind of 9 through 16. And again, the cutoff for the playoffs is 8, the first page of the graphic. But kind of where the points cutoff is would be Nashville SC in terms of between them and North Carolina FC. But as of now, it's been an impressive first season for Nashville SC. But they're on the outside looking in. They also have a lot of matches left to go.
Yeah, and there's these 3-4 teams here at the top of this table really need to start pushing right now at this point in the season.
By the way, look out for Penn FC. Kind of a quirky schedule. They've been on the road for weeks. They finished like their last 8 matches at home, including a visit by the Indy 11. Don't write off Penn FC just yet, but they've got a lot of ground to make up with all those home matches that are about to take place. So it is a busy Wednesday around the USL. Our scoreboard brought to you by Crown Plaza, Indianapolis downtown. One match that has gone full-time. Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they're going to be a playoff team, the stingiest team in the entire league. And FC Cincinnati without Manu Ledesma, who is out because of yellow card accumulation tonight. No problem. They lead by 2. And we can update the update. Lou City just scored on the road in Charlotte, so Louisville leads 1-0 on the road. And again, they've made a coaching change, and they've just kept on trucking the way they have all season long.
Yeah, the great thing about Louisville City is their philosophy as a club goes from the owner to the front office down to the coaching staff to the players, and everybody has bought in.
The Indy 11 finished their season at Louisville City on Saturday, October the 13th. Our halftime show not finished yet. Back with more in a moment on My Indy TV. Indy 11 Soccer is brought to you by Community Health. Exceptional care simply delivered. Community Health Network. By Honda, proud to be the official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. By Turkish Airlines, widen your world. And by the Room Place, get it all at the Room Place. A beautiful night in downtown Indianapolis and a night for goals in the beautiful game. Indy 11-2, Toronto FC 2. Brad, from a tactics standpoint, what changes, if any, you expect to see from the Indy 11 here in the second 45?
Well, I think it's just going to be a timing from the front line and the delivery of the ball over the top, because I think they can get through Toronto's back line as they showed here. The timing is a little bit off. Defensively, I think you got to be a little bit cautious about Venegas getting forward, because they're hitting that spot right behind him as soon as they win the ball in transition.
Well, with 4 goals in the first 34 minutes, not exactly a shortage of highlights to show you from the opening half here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Again, scoring chances throughout for Toronto FC2. The Indy 11 capitalizing on clearly their 2 best opportunities.
What a great finish here. I mean, you got a veteran goalkeeper in, so you're just reading and you set him up, you open up your hips at the very end and just tuck it underneath him.
For Ben Spies, his 3rd goal. They have all come in the last 2 months of the season. Sooney Saad sets up Jack McInerney, his 7th to lead the team.
Such a clever ball by Dylan Mears. He takes just enough of a touch on it to draw the defender in and open up Sooney.
The foul on Mattern just outside of the 18, and Endo a beauty.
Oh, he's been fantastic.
Again, just signed by the club on August the 2nd, and then Hamilton. Again, he is on a contract with Toronto FC. He's played in 6 games this year for this team, and he scored 4 times. Stats, goals even. Again, 2 shots, 2 goals. Got to prove our point for the Indy 11. That possession number concern you at all there, Brad?
No, not at all. I think the thing that concerns me the most is while you've had some opportunities up front, you're not generating enough goal scoring opportunities. I mean, 2 for 2 on your goals and shots, but you need to generate more shots.
Let's go down to the field. We're joined now by the head coach of the Indy 11 in Martin Rennie. Coach, I know you love the fact you've scored 2. You don't like the fact you've given up 2. Overall, your thoughts on an up and down first 45 minutes?
Yeah, it's probably 2 parts to the half where we looked very good. We attacked well, scored 2 good goals, and then we lost 2 that were very disappointing. I think that the team we're playing against puts high numbers forward. They're vulnerable on transition, but they're also very dangerous. So we have to make sure that we don't give the ball away in bad areas. We have to miss the pressure that's there and take more. We're going to get more chances, but we need to take them.
Just kind of your thoughts from a defensive standpoint. Do you change things up from that perspective, or focus on things more from an offensive perspective to change things up in half number 2?
Well, both. I mean, obviously we're attacking pretty well, scoring 2 goals in the half, but we need to make sure that we time our runs well. I feel there was a number of balls behind that created 1v1 opportunities that weren't offside or were certainly very close. And so we want to take advantage of those, but we also want to make sure that defensively we're careful, because with so many players forward on top of us, if we play too many passes in our own defensive third, then we'll be under pressure, and that's dangerous.
Martin, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you after the match. Head coach of the Indy 11, Martin Rennie. His interview, as always, presented by Turkish Airlines, the official international airline of Indy 11 soccer. Turkish Airlines, widen your world. It certainly looks like Sooney Saad's going to soldier on. We saw him go to the field twice, but he is out there to start this half in the opening 11 for the Indy 11.
Well, the optimistic part of that is you have to believe it's not something serious then. It's got to be a bone bruise or something that isn't going to jeopardize these next couple weeks for him.
Well, Sooney is certainly this team's best set-piece taker. There hasn't been that opportunity yet for the Indy 11 because everything has been so open on their offensive end. You've got both he and the gentleman on your screen right now in Ioze, because this club for a long period of time to start the year, not getting much in the run of play, but they were lethal on set pieces and on corners. It has not been a set pieces and corners type of game, and I say that with a goal coming from a set piece from Toronto FC2 already.
Well, you look at it, and Toronto's generated 2 corner kicks, and those happened both like in the first 5 minutes, and the 11 haven't had one yet.
Teams will switch ends. For those of you watching outside of Indianapolis, there's a bit of a breeze, but that's 7 stories above us. It generally does not get down and affect the field of play when the roof and or window are open here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Indy 11 have gotten points from each of their last 4 matches. We referenced how Toronto FC2 has alternated wins and losses in their last 5. Indy 11 has alternated wins and draws in their last 4. If that pattern holds up, 3 points are on the way for the Indy 11. Looking to sweep the season series against their neighbors from the north, whom they won't face again, as Toronto FC2 heads for USL D3 next year.
When you look at that those wins and draws that you talk about, and the 11 haven't lost in about 4 weeks, and they haven't lost here at home in 6 weeks. So they're on a really good stretch. They're playing well. You got multiple guys that are helping out with the scoring. When you're in these stretches where games are falling your way, goals are going in, you don't mind these multiple games in short amount of time.
Watson draws the foul and goes down. Wearing the captain's armband tonight, Noble Okello, the player that commits the foul. And I have to thank Soccer Insider and friend of the program, Nipun Chopra, for sending me this note about Okello. He has already drawn some attention from Wolfsburg in the Bundesliga. You can see why. And even though Okello is from Canada, the thought remains the same. You have seen this current run on players 17 and 18 years of age from this country and the Bundesliga wanting to have those guys in their development system. Venegas sends it in, and McInerney couldn't latch on to it.
Yeah, it's not difficult. I mean, it takes little time to see the talent that kid has.
Giveaway, Sunisa for Mater. Trying to find McInerney. Watson does, but McInerney was frustrated the ball didn't get to him the first time and didn't get back on side.
That's tough too. You know, you don't blame him for the frustration because he was on and Modern had the right idea, just couldn't slip it through. But then you can't let that frustration bleed into the next play where you do have the turnover and Watson has it and can get it to you and you're out of the play.
Nico Mattern, if fate had intervened, he'd be getting ready for his second season playing at Indiana Wesleyan about now. And he was invited just to be kind of an extra body at training camp for the Indy 11 at Grand Park in February. And after 3 days was offered a contract by the team. Ball flicked forward for McInerney. Splits the two center backs. Couldn't get there. Sod left foot. Didn't have the right touch on that one. Patterson Sewell had the angle covered.
I can imagine all the fans of Indiana Wesleyan soccer are thanking you for the reminder that he's not with them here early in the season.
First ever player from Indiana Wesleyan to play for the Indy 11. They have Butler and IU players representing the in-state schools on the roster. This is Buccaro. Indy 11 now with 7 behind the ball. Previous years, players from DePaul University have appeared on the Indy 11 roster as well. Speaking of Butler, Zach Steinberger is that Butler alum, and we've got another favorite of ours locally that played his soccer both high school in the area and at Butler. It is Eric Dick, who was the first-round pick of Sporting Kansas City in January's MLS draft. He is one of the 5 players, along with Owain Von Williams, up for the Save of the Week in the USL this year. This week, Eric is playing for the Swope Park Rangers, their USL team in Kansas City. Sent him a nice note this week, catching up with him.
Great kid. Yep. And from the moment that he was able to start thinking those thoughts of pro soccer, he was living it and breathing it. When he was 18 years old, I would get emails from him on a pretty consistent basis. Hey, what drills can I do? And he always looking for more. I couldn't keep up with the information that he wanted. It was so exciting to see, and then to watch his career unfold at Butler, where he just was phenomenal, and then become a draft pick is you know, it's such a great reward for all the work that the kid did.
There you see Zach Steinberger. I haven't done the full research on this, but I'm pretty sure he's the only player in Indy 11 history with the middle name of Wolfgang. I'm going to claim that as a fact without doing much research on the subject.
Right, I think that's a pretty safe bet.
Fans, the USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter.
Now there's another Butler grad. I think he played with North Carolina right out of Butler. Jordan Burt, do I have the name right?
Correct.
I think he's playing out in Colorado right now.
Correct.
He's actually doing very, very well.
And again, the Eastern Conference and Western Conference so infrequently play each other that we almost kind of view this as a 16-team league and go, oh yeah, you win this league, you play the champ of the other league. And I was doing a little Western Conference research earlier with the return of Dylan Mayers to the Indy 11. Because in 2015, Dylan was tied for the team league in goals with 5 as Patterson Sewell gives it away. The player he was tied with was Brian Brown, who was on loan from the Philadelphia Union. Brian now plays for Reno, and Brian has 11 goals this season. Young player from Jamaica. Mitchell to Venegas. Venegas not shy about going forward just yet. Just kind of cleared that ball to keep it in play. Ended up Mayers couldn't do much with it. And here comes TFC2.
And they are quick on the break.
And maybe a little more spring in the legs of Toronto FC2 at this point, knowing they have not played since last Thursday. And the fact that they are about 7 or 8 years younger a player out there on the field. And Martin Rennie, I think so far in this busy stretch, has done a great job of limiting the mileage on this team. Mayers would like to have that pass back. Right idea.
Great thought. The window was there, just underplayed.
And again, Mayers, even though he just joined the team, he has played with Miami FC2 in the NPSL level, so not against this level of competition. But he's played 14, 15, 16 matches, so it's not like he's either rusty from not playing. He last played in a match, I want to say maybe 2.5 weeks ago. But it's also not like the tank is empty because he's played so much already this season either. So he should be in mid-season form.
Great ball.
Hamilton. Iose pressures it off of it. And now space to move here. Endo sends it in. Venegas clears it momentarily. Liam Fraser will settle for TFC2. Now this may be a B-side for TFC2. They have brought their A game tonight.
And you take a look at the little nudge that Iose gave Hamilton there at the top of the box. After he ripped that ball from 30, you got to make sure when he starts lining up for another shot that you do, put something in his head, either a body on him or a little nudge to get him off track, and that was enough to get him to move the ball out wide.
This portion of tonight's match presented by the Denny Companies. The Denny Companies tearing down the past so you can build the future. And their leading goal scorer, Ayo Akinyola, had 4 coming in. Now Hamilton has tied that mark. Akinyola did that in 9 games. Hamilton has done so in 6. Well done by Venegas. We spoke about the new turf here at Lucas Oil. It is officially now 8 days old. There's also new lights here at the stadium as well, and as it gets darker a bit earlier outside this time of year, those new lights are taking effect. Just a bit too tall for Speeds. I've seen no issues with Soony Saad, by the way, in terms of his mobility so far in this half, after going to the ground twice in half number 1.
And one of the things you worry about at halftime is, sitting for 15 minutes and does it stiffen up? And so whether they gave it some treatment or whether it was just a knock that he was able to work through at halftime, it's good to see him back and good to see no effects of it.
By the way, this portion of the match is brought to you by Community Health and Sports Medicine, keeping athletes at the top of their game. Visit ecommunity.com/sports. Another opportunity, Vaccaro. The lead for Hamilton. I think Hamilton was in an offside position, but Iose couldn't take the chance, and it's a corner given up by the Indy 11. Indy 11 has 5 home wins, 5 road wins so far this year. So the numbers are virtually even, but it just seems like, Brad, they have been almost a better road team than home team this year. We saw Endo take the 2 corners from this side earlier. Back post. It was Okello that could not get a head to it at 6'4".
And
ball flicked, but not on frame. And again, I like what I'm seeing from Toronto FC too. If you did not know their record coming in, you would not believe they have won twice this year.
No, and veteran veteran move by Ouimet on Okello as he just sort of wrapped him up a little bit and would not allow him to get up for that corner kick. But nice little ball driven into the 6 and a good chance to flick it past Fawn Williams there.
There really are 3 teams at this point that are not part of the playoff chase in the Eastern Conference, and even Penn FC, I kind of put them in there just because they've had so many home matches left to go. But really, it's TFC to Atlanta United to, and the Richmond Kickers, the teams you go, yeah, you can exclude them from the playoffs, but show something about these kids truly being young professionals. That last word, they are playing like professionals, knowing they are fighting for a spot on the big club, if you will, in Toronto. By the way, this segment of the match is presented by the Room Place. Get it all at the Room Place. Flag goes up. Advantage being played as Mares goes to the turf. Boy, Mares making his 81st appearance with the Indy 11 tonight. That is 4th in club history. Watson sends it in.
Good serve.
Spees trying to settle. McInerney carving out some space. And Mitchell sprints out to get it. Fawn Williams takes a couple of steps forward and then realizes Carlisle's got it covered.
Boy, they are not shy. As soon as they get the ball, they are looking for Endo over the top.
Here's an opportunity here. McInerney's onside. Mares trying to find an angle to get it to him. Instead he'll call his own number.
Great.
Welcome home, Dylan Mares.
Great. He set the 2 defenders up as a screen for Patterson Sewell and just bent. How many times have we seen that?
Some things don't change. His 11th goal in league play for the Indy 11. His 12th goal in an Indy 11 uniform in total. What's new is the beard. What's not is the end result. And the Indy 11 lead it 3-2.
So calm. Just draws those 2 defenders right in. Screens Patterson Sewell and then just drives a perfectly bent ball to the far post.
A bit of a muted goal celebration from Dylan. That's what he did when he was playing for Miami FC and scored here. Now you're back for the home side kick. You can celebrate that a little bit more. So for a second time in as many home matches, 3 goals scored by 3 different goal scorers for the Indy 11. But a lot of time and a lot of opportunity remaining. McInerney, is the flag going to go up? Yep, he was. He was offside. And then a bit of an extra added shove at the end of the play from Eckenrode, which was unnecessary. And McInerney's like, I'm good. You put me down, I'll get up myself. Thank you. Mares one more time. Of course, this is his first goal at Lucas Oil Stadium for the Indy 11. All of his previous home strikes coming over at Carroll Stadium.
Well, that's good that he got one here. That'll be good for the kid's confidence.
He was named as the man of the match in the championship game of a different league. I'm not sure his confidence needs the help right now. Never hurts, though. Well, it is good to see the investment paid off with such a quick return. Sooney Saad is onside. The flick forward. Sooney Saad. Saad goes to the turf.
Yep.
Nothing.
What?
You really get to use the term apoplectic in a broadcast.
That's because you don't know what it means. That's
well, I do.
I've never used that word.
This job, but Martin Rennie is going that on the sidelines for the Indy 11 right now. Vaquero sends it in. And Sooney Saad just now getting up on the other end. And then a foul can be called on McInerney. And then a shove at the end of the play from another Toronto FC2 player, and take a look yourself.
Thoughts, Mr. Hodder? I don't know how you missed that one. I think, I don't know who flicked that ball into Sunisad's space, but he put himself into a position that he's either going to get a shot on goal or he's going to have to be brought down.
And then a foul going to be called against Ioze for going to the ground. And this is probably the most dissent we have seen from an Indy 11 side this year towards a match referee. And now is he actually pointing the other direction? Someone said he pointed the wrong direction. He did. An error made by the official in terms of how he pointed. It will be Indy 11 ball.
The tough part about that no call on the penalty kick is, you know, Toronto has come back from 2 goals in the first half. You'd be hard pressed to believe that they'd be able to do it again here in the second half. So while that wouldn't be the final nail in the coffin, that was pretty much the deciding factor in this match. And so, you know, Coach Rennie, he certainly has an argument here for that call, but, you know, see how these last 30 minutes play out, and that could be one that you look back on and say, oof, how'd you miss that?
Does not take long for either side to go on the attack in this match. We've said that for the entirety of it. Rarely have these teams been going in reverse tonight. Everything has been about charging forward. Eckenrode does that here. Von Williams lines this one up. The USL will surpass 2 million in total attendance this week, maintaining a record pace in the stands for the league's modern era. The league and its teams would like to thank you, the fans, for the rising support you have provided over the course of the season as we head to the 2018 USL Cup playoffs. Spies didn't get the boot on that one he wanted to. A second goal for Spies would be his first brace in Indy 11 uniform.
Great read by Venegas.
McInerney the target. Headed away by TFC2. Ioze. Spies with space. He's not shy about that.
And I'll tell you what, the midfield for Toronto has opened up a lot. I mean, you know, they've almost got 2 lines, their back line and their front line, and they're playing this counter game. But if Indy's holding a lot of possession in the center of the field.
This portion of the match presented by Honda Manufacturers of Indiana, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. McInerney.
Oh.
Right idea. Watson didn't read him properly.
Goodness. That's such a high IQ play. I mean, not just to know that Watson's out there, but know where the defender is, know where that space is, and just take that touch, turn, and drive it. I mean, that's such a high-level play.
If the Indy 11 can score 1 more, it would be the most goals they would have had in a match in their brief USL history. They've scored 3 now on numerous occasions, including each of the last 2 home matches. And they've scored 3 in each match they have played against TFC2 this year. By the way, it's also now 50 goals allowed this season by Toronto FC2. Watson trying to make the turn, but that 6'4" frame of Okello able to track that one down. Covered a little more ground, more so than the veteran in Watson. Watson, the oldest player on the Indy 11 at 33. Okello, literally half his age, 17. Kubel on the throw-in. Kubel from Stuttgart, Germany. Good run going here for TFC2. Matthew Serbel. Do you expect the tenor or pace of this match to change at any point?
Not a bit. Not a bit. I think you've got Toronto that is set in this style of play, and they're getting opportunities from it. And you take a look at the counterattacking ability and the creativity of Mares and what it's creating going forward. I don't anticipate any real changes. I think it's going to come down to execution here over these last 25 minutes to see who comes away with the points.
Bit of a miscue by Venegas. TFC2 unable to capitalize on it. Been a bit of a giveaway ball that time.
There just wasn't the space to play that ball over the top.
Von Williams, the first player from Wales to compete for the Indy 11. On loan from his team in Scotland, Inverness Caledonian Thistle.
Now this is where the 11's finding some success, knocking that ball back to their back line, which draws up Toronto's back line, and then looking for that ball over the top or through.
Venegas, another quality read. Venegas on the run. And Venegas, a wipeout.
That was a really good move. The ball just got away from him as he came out of it.
Venegas, his first year away from Minnesota United in several. Had been with them in their NASL days and made the move to Major League Soccer with them last year. One of the stalwarts we were used to seeing playing for Minnesota. Made a move a couple of weeks ago himself. Christian Ramirez traded to LAFC. I believe he got a goal in his first appearance for Bob Bradley.
He's one of those guys that's just a natural goal scorer.
Yep.
He went to college out west, didn't he? I mean,
I think he played NAIA ball, I think at Concordia of California, I believe. Yeah. So yes, that was a homecoming for him. Going to play for LAFC. Turf bounce got the best of Toronto FC too. It's been a busy few days here at Lucas Oil Stadium. Indy 11 last Wednesday, high school football on Friday, Colts on Monday, Indy 11 tonight, Colts on Saturday.
Tip of the hat to you, pal. That Colts game on Saturday, you're going to be here, right?
I'm here for most Colts games. Saad got grabbed, and again, no whistle.
You're being a bit bashful about that Saturday.
I'll explain here in a second. Literally, I think a goal scoring chance is coming every 30 seconds in this match. So I don't want to get too deep into the woods into a story and have to cut it off in mid-sentence. I'm going to finish the thought. I get to be on the television call of the Colts 49ers game on Saturday afternoon for the first time, and very much looking forward to that.
I cannot wait to watch it.
Kubel sends it in. Swept away by Ouimet.
I'm going to sit there with my notepad, my thesaurus, my dictionary, my pronunciation guide. I'm going to get all those words that you toss out there and write them down.
Watson. Venegas.
Good serve.
Mares couldn't settle. Mattern. Closed down by Fraser. Look at the spin on that ball on the turf. Everything in attack mode for each of these two teams. Opportunity for a counter here. Watson closes him down. Fans, you can download the official Indy 11 app now to be the first to receive breaking team news and highlights. Available on the app stores for Apple and Android devices. What have you seen, if anything, different defensively from the Indy 11, Brad, here in the second half?
I haven't seen Venegas get forward quite as much, but I just think that's been a read. I just don't think the opportunities have been there for him to be dangerous in those moments.
Just joining us, TFC 2 trailed by 2 early and then scored 2 nearly as quickly. We were leveled at 2 until Dylan Mares broke the deadlock a few minutes ago in his return game to the Indy 11. 5 goals in 2015, 5 goals in 2016, and won as many matches in 2018.
I got to tell you, I'm just blown away by Okello at 17 years old, the way he's playing.
This is Endo. He was really the starter for things offensively. Back post, Fraser, and Mares will knock it sideways. It will be a corner, however, for TFC 2. We've been selling him as a 17-year-old. We got to update the math. He's actually 18. He turned 18 last month.
Okay, I take everything. I'm not impressed.
Right, he's a different player at 18 than he would be at 17, correct? Yeah. Ball sent in. Never into a shooting scenario, and then once it is, Endo will send that one towards the Colts locker room.
Yeah, you could tell as he was winding up that wasn't going to stay on the field.
88 and out the gate goes that one. And Von Williams looks for a new ball. Noble Okello, a name and face to remember.
You want to remember names, I tell you, Jordan Hamilton too. Tsubasa, Endo. Those are three guys that are going to have good, long careers.
Hamilton 22, Endo 24. Fans, you get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening. The latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. Indy 11 about to make their first sub of the game. Appears to be Juan Guerra. Had the game-winning goal scored last week for the Indy 11, his first in an Indy 11 uniform. Hamilton, extended arm on that one. That was a self-defense move, not take one in the face. And here comes the substitution, and Dylan Mayer's night is done. A happy homecoming indeed for the native of Indiana, the former Indiana Hoosier, former and once again member of the Indy 11. Dylan Mayer's exits. Juan Guerra enters in minute number 73.
Outstanding performance. Outstanding performance. I mean, he can create his own shot. He can create space for other players, and then he can deliver balls into those spaces for the guys.
By the way, this portion of the match presented by Turkish Airlines. Widen your world. Last several years, Phil DeSanto has been trying on a way to stop Dylan Mayers as an opposing coach in Ottawa or San Francisco.
What a pickup. Whoever initiated that conversation, bonus, extra ice cream at the next staff meeting, whatever it takes. That was a great pickup.
Well, frankly, there was competition from other teams in the league to sign him. So one of three additions for the Indy 11. Diego Campos and Elliot Collier on loan from the Chicago Fire. Collier got the start on Saturday and appeared as a reserve last week against North Carolina FC. And Collier available as a substitution if needed tonight. Other subs available: Ferreira, Moses, Ring, Steinberger, and Collier. And the backup goalkeeper is Ben Lundgaard, the youngster on loan from the Columbus Crew that played at Virginia Tech. We have not seen Lundgaard get match action this year. Good read by McInerney, trying to fire that back to Saad. Instead will earn a corner. And it is time for Ioze to make the slow walk across the pitch to curl the ball in with his left foot.
And I was talking to Ben Lundgaard early in the season. I asked him what his favorite college memory was. You know, you have an outstanding career, collegiate career, and have such a dominant performance. His answer was, I think it was a sister of either his roommate or teammate or somebody on the team was diagnosed with cancer, and the whole team shaved their head and kept their head shaved all season. That was his highlight. That was his greatest college moment, that they could give that gift.
That's what the college experience is all about, right? The sense of camaraderie. Ioze 5 assists on the year. A couple of them from a very similar spot. Sends it in. Nobody on the back end of that one. Saad and Mattern can pick up the same real estate. Spees. Mitchell was the target. Now Watson will settle. Nifty idea by Ioze, and Endo didn't allow it to develop. And that should be Indy 11 ball, and it will be. After tonight, the Indy 11 have 5 more home games remaining. And starting next Wednesday, they have 3 in 8 days. They'll be at home the 29th, September the 1st, and again on September the 5th. This is the second time in 4 consecutive weeks where the Indy 11 are playing midweek at home here at Lucas Oil Stadium. McInerney to Speeds. Saad inside of the 18. Doesn't get past the defender. Throw in coming here for the Indy 11. Boskovic able to get in the way. You see Peter Evans of Brickyard Battalion fame in the capo stand as per usual. Thousands of Indy 11 fans very passionate about this team, none more so than he. And that'll be a goal kick. Menegas couldn't keep that in the field of play.
Yeah, just a little strong on that last touch.
For standing stats, all the latest league news, be sure to visit uslsoccer.com. Indy 11 trying to join Bethlehem Steel at 39 points with a win here tonight. Put those teams in terms of points tied at 5th. Top 8 teams in the East make it. Single match elimination playoffs. Louisville City, the defending USL Cup champions. Ioze flicks it ahead for Saad. TFC 2 about to make their first substitution here in a minute or two. Sean Hundle will be that player that'll be brought in. And a player down behind the play for Indy is Ioze. Ioze's missed some time this year with a couple of different injuries. He missed the first 2 games of the season, then proceeded to play in the next 11. He missed 3 during the month of July. Missed the Tampa Bay match, missed the Bethlehem match, and set out the Louisville City match as well.
Yeah, I think it was last week too. He got a little bit nicked up on his ankle. Thought he was done. So this may be, you know, just kind of a ongoing injury. He's just trying to nurse through this stretch.
Players on both sides on what is a perfect night getting hydrated, and part of the fact you could wait this long to get your subs in the game is that the conditions are so utterly perfect in this building right now. A couple of games that were frankly miserable from a heat index standpoint, as Elliot Caller's about to enter for the Indy 11 as well. That was June 30th and July the 4th. Other than that, it's been nice and temperate, or frankly, roof has been closed at 72 degrees, as was the case 7 days ago. Well, the first half, even if it was 2-2, we said, hey, maybe the better chances came from Toronto FC 2. This half, the play has been more tilted in favor of the Indy 11, as they have the only goal so far of the half coming from the returning Dylan Mayers. And McInerney will draw the whistle. We have not seen a card yet in tonight's match. Kubel, the player that had his ankle rolled on the challenge from McInerney.
He plays with such an edge, McInerney does. And you don't usually get that kind of rough, tough play from your leading scorer. He's not afraid of the physical game. He goes up for balls. He can hold guys off.
He sounds like a guy that was playing in Major League Soccer when he was 17.
Yeah, that's the only way you can survive.
Old veteran not being old.
Yeah, it's the only way you can survive as a teenager, I think, in that environment, is to develop an edge to the way you play and a toughness.
Boskovic, the player, subbed out for Toronto FC 2. Suni Saad, and after going to the turf early, he got 80 minutes tonight, which is good to see. So Collier, who is from New Zealand, played his collegiate soccer at Loyola of Chicago and then was drafted by the Chicago Fire. Did have a goal for the Chicago Fire, and I wouldn't say even limited minutes, and some pretty good minutes early in the season. Both the Indy Campos saw some match time with the Fire this year, but both loaned out here for more of an opportunity. Now Collier has played in each of the last 3 matches for Indy.
Yeah, and in that time you've seen, you know, why he earned minutes with the Fire is because he is a dynamic player. He's got pace that you wouldn't expect from somebody with that height.
Ball finds McInerney. McInerney able to quickly track it back down. Tries to slide it through. Good takeaway bow by TFC2. But the turf monster strikes yet again. Baccaro could not keep it in play. Indy 11 looking to make it 3 consecutive home victories. We referenced last Wednesday multiple times. You can go all the way back to July the 7th for the previous one. That 39-day gap between home matches, in part because of the turf being installed here at Lucas Oil Stadium. That came against the Charlotte Independents. Indy 11 trying to add Toronto FC 2 to the list of teams they have swept this year. North Carolina FC is in that group. And Nashville SC is in that group as well. This is Collier. Second year in a row that the Indy 11 have had a player from New Zealand on their roster. Craig Henderson spent last year with the club. Both those guys playing collegiate soccer in the States. Kubel, Ioze, and swept away even further by Guerra. Guerra and Ioze, part of that trio of players that came over from the New York Cosmos in the offseason. The third, and Eugene Starikov, not in the 18 tonight. Unless he's finding an injury, which I don't think is the case. I'd expect to see him not only in uniform, but on the field in Atlanta on Saturday night as part of this rotation of skilled players that Martin Rennie has at his disposal. Watson will track it down.
Track it down.
Turns on the accelerator. Collier leaves some space. McInerney.
Love it. Just love it. It's a great effort by Watson to track that ball down, keep it in bounds, and then do what he does so frequently is cut to that near post, draw the defenders and the goalkeeper, and then slot a ball back across. And McInerney fighting to get just ahead on it before the defender. What a great play.
Quickly back to action. Looking for the back post. And that was by far the best look of the half for TFC2. They had multiple looks in the first half. They have not been as many in this half. It'll be a goal kick for Owain Fawn Williams.
Yeah, and early on in this half, Hamilton wasn't that active. He's finding some space. He's finding some pockets right now. So you got to do 2 things to prevent it. Make sure that you've got an eye on him, that he doesn't get a touch, but also start denying serves into his space.
Let's thank our friends at Braden, Indy 11's preferred technology and office equipment provider. BradenOnline.com. Braden, technology that drives your business. And while we are in the thank you business, it is time to offer a thank you to our director this evening and our buddy Josh Weber. And we should thank him in every broadcast, but especially in the means of this is going to be his last game on our crew. Our Tupelo Raycom crew does a great job of producing our matches. They have since 2015. Josh has been our lead producer for the broadcast since 2016. In fact, this is the 41st match that Josh has been a part of.
Are you kidding me? You're keeping stats on everything?
I got people, smart people telling me things in my ear.
Okay.
They're telling me those things. So you're really going to be wowed by this. He has been a part of 431 events in his days with Tupelo Raycom.
Holy smokes.
He is moving on to an opportunity in Utah at Utah Valley University. We wish he and his wife Madison the best of luck. We hate to see him go, but nothing but the best for them. They have been a part of the Indy 11 family for the last 4 years, and we greatly appreciate it.
That's awesome. Congrats, Josh.
And Mitchell down behind the play. Flag goes up. I think we're playing advantage right now. Iose goes to turf. And draws the whistle. And now the Indy 11 for the first time will start to slow things down just a bit. And it also appears the third and final substitution for the Indy 11. I was going to say Seth Moses, and he's putting the green jersey back on. So I thought he might be coming in, but right now that's not the case. And Fawn Williams will take his dear old sweet time on this restart. A veteran move for one of those 10 30-somethings we referenced earlier on this Indy 11 roster. Not a 30-something is the rookie in Collier. But he's looked the part in his brief time with the club.
Good vision.
Guerra drawing 2 defenders. Possession's not a bad thing right now for the Indy 11.
And possession here as well. It's, you know, it's tough to be countered when you're holding the ball in the corner. Good pressure.
And walking the tightrope, Iose.
Look at this.
Collier
Great
perfectly
ball.
times it. Trying to set up what move. He leaves for Guerra. Extra touch to Watson.
Oh my goodness. I think he hit McInerney with the ball.
I was going to say that ramped, and because he hit McInerney, McInerney was offside, so the flag went up. And TFC2 will restart quickly. And Watson gives the professional foul. And for that, we'll see, I believe, the first yellow of the match. And again, that's just because of the opportunity. And off camera, Matt's going to put up his hand and says, yep, I know. In his 14th year as a pro, he's done that before.
Yeah, you know, I get concerned sometimes with yellow card accumulation, taking some of those when you may not need to. I thought that the shape of the back line was still pretty good, that, you know, maybe you could have rode that one out.
But if you're going to take a first yellow, the 88th minute is the time to do it. Our third and final substitution of the night for the Indy 11. Ben Spees with a goal will exit. And Seth Moses, as advertised a moment or two ago, will be that final sub. By the way, our final 5 minutes plus stoppage time is presented by your Central Indiana Honda Dealers, official automotive sponsor of the Indy 11. Indy 11 looking for their second consecutive 3-2 victory here at Lucas Oil Stadium. If that trend continues, we may start charging fans by the goal. So these subs are done for Indy. There's still a couple available for TFC2 if needed. And they do have a full complement of 18 players available for tonight's match.
And it's good here in transition. You know, the 11 got 8 guys back behind the ball pretty quickly. Wow.
Moses with the physicality and no whistle given. And with a player down, Indy 11 stopped for a moment and then restart. Ball at the feet of Patterson Sewell. Collier applying pressure, and now that there's clear possession for TFC2, the whistle is blown. Baccaro, the player that goes to the turf. And as we have seen in his tenure with the Indy 11, Moses has no problem bringing a physical nature to the game. Now, we've referenced there were a couple of calls the Indy 11 were not happy about. I can see why Toronto FC2 would not be happy about that call.
Yeah, and I think with the ferocity of that hit, you know, Indy 11 was ready to knock that ball out of bounds, and then when they saw it was a cramp, I think, hey, we're going to play.
Fourth official will show us the time remaining in this match momentarily. 4 minutes left to go in this one from Lucas Oil Stadium. Good step by Moses. McInerney racing forward. Collier to his left. McInerney plays it across. Rebound opportunity. Moses couldn't catch a break on that one. And then nothing called at the Contact at the other end. Mitchell racing back. And Iose is there.
Tell you, I love that about Juan Guerra. You know, he's rolled up. There's a player on top of him. He recognizes, you know, I can sit here and I can argue for the call, or I can get back and help my team. He gets up, and it is a dead sprint to recover.
Juan Guerra, 2 years with Tampa Bay, 2 years with the Cosmos. Native of Venezuela, but he played his collegiate soccer at Florida International in Miami. And with a player down, Iose will play that ball off to the side. Hamilton. Really haven't talked much about Hamilton here in the second half. He was all over the place in the first half. Is it something they're doing differently, or have the Indy 11 done a better job of taking him away?
I don't think that they've found him. I think here in the last 15, 20 minutes, he's been finding some pockets of space. But Toronto hasn't maintained the same level of possession. They haven't been as dangerous in the attack. And when that happens as a team, you know, obviously the key focal point on your target player is going to get the ball a lot less. Now, you did see still, Ouimet, being a veteran defender, he keeps checking his shoulder all the time looking for Hamilton. So he's always aware of where he is, but he hasn't closed that space. He's not, you know, shrinking the distance between he and Hamilton at all. He just knows where he is at all times.
Aiden Daniels, by the way, is the player that has entered the match for Toronto FC2, replacing Baquero, who was the player that had exited with that cramp. TFC2 still has one substitution remaining. And clearly with that delay with a player down, there will be some added time, which also happened last week. There were 4 minutes on the board last Wednesday. There were nearly 8 minutes of added time in the 3-2 victory versus North Carolina FC. And I'll reference yet again, there was some magic going in the wrong direction for the Indy 11. Collier heads it down, not on frame.
Holy, did you see that ball McInerney brought down? Oh my goodness.
8 years in Major League Soccer. He's pretty good.
Yeah, 90th minute. He's been chasing everything down. That is a really tough ball to bring down under pressure, and then to be able to find Collier back post.
But the Indy 11 have lost a lead in this scenario earlier this season in their 3-3 draw against the Charleston Battery, one of the matches of the year. McInerney is offside and was by a couple of yards. However, Guerra's not. Everybody's kind of stopped, and Guerra takes advantage of it. Great job by McInerney to not chase that ball and keep that play alive.
Yep, and for Guerra to keep going. You know, I think that's one of the things that experience gives you, is you don't ever quit on it. And Toronto kind of clicked off for a bit. Guerra didn't. And if nothing else, it kills another 45 seconds to a minute down here.
I think this has been one of McInerney's better performances of the year. And that's it. The final whistle blows exactly at the 4-minute mark. And the Indy 11 maybe had to fight for this one a little more than they would have liked to. But at this stage of the season, the end result is the thing. The full 3 points for the Indy 11.
That's a great win, because this is a team you can fall asleep on, and they're clicking as of late. And you take a look at some of the pieces that they have. Some of these players are dynamic. They can hurt you if you fall asleep on them.
4 goals in the first half, just 1 in the second. And it belongs to the home team. Indy takes all 3. They win it 3-2. Coming up in a few minutes, it will be the Central Indiana Honda Dealers post-game show. We'll be joined by Martin Rennie, Ben Spies, and the returning Dylan Mayers. And it's Mayers that has the game winner in this one for the Indy 11. 5 goals tonight for the Indy 11, or 5 goals in total, I should say, for this match. The first 2 belonging to the home team.
This is a great ball over the top, and what composure by Ben Spies. He showed last week he can do it from distance. This week it's in close.
Jack McInerney finds that pocket of space, not just in front of the defenders, but on the right-hand side of Patterson Sewell. But again, I love the fight shown by this young and struggling team in Toronto FC, too.
Yeah, it's a great comeback. You think you're down two goals early in the match and you're the lowest on the table, plenty of reason to give up, and boy, they fought back and made it a game.
Not as many goals in half number 2, but enough to get the W. Welcome home, Dylan Mayers.
Unreal, just unreal.
3 weeks removed from playing in the NPSL. Frankly, he's not an NPSL level talent. He's this level, if not higher. Dylan Mayers gets the W for the Indy 11. That'll end tonight's game broadcast, but stay tuned. More post-game coverage comes your way next here at Lucas Oil Stadium. For Brad Hodder, the departing Josh Weber, and our entire crew, this is Greg Rakestraw. We're back in just a moment on My Indy TV.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.